I'm Hannah from Good Life Permaculture. We're based in Hobart, Tasmania, in the bottom of Australia. Today I'm going to talk to you about winter cropping. Last week I took you through how you can get fresh food fast within 8 weeks, but I really want you to know how you can eat beyond that too. So today I'm going to show you how you can eat for months and months to come and what crops you need to plant right now to make that happen. This little sign over here will show you some of the things that we can plant. It includes everything from garlic to carrots, broad beans, broccolis and celeries. This is in addition to the list that I showed you last week, so you can still plant lots of leafy greens, turnips and radishes as well. So let's get started over here with garlic. Okay, now garlic is a fantastic crop. It does take ages to grow though, so we won't actually be eating these until close to Christmas time, and right now we're at the end of March, so it's a good whack of time, but by golly gosh, it is so worth the wait. You can see we've got 3 rows of garlic here mapped out, and the spacings are quite generous. That's because, well, for a couple of reasons. We're actually going to sneak in another little crop of greens straight down the middle of this row and that row. I'm thinking maybe lettuce and mitsuna. So they'll grow really quickly. Obviously we can eat while we're waiting for these garlics to grow. The second reason why we have pretty generous spacings is we want to prevent a disease coming called garlic rust. And that is something that actually makes the leaf of the garlic plant go rusty, and it makes you have a lower yield. Super bummer. So we have really generous spacings to increase the airflow throughout the crop. Okay, how do you even plant garlic? Well, you make sure the pointy bit is facing the sky, the flat bottom bit is facing the ground. And you dig a little hole with your finger, twice the height of the garlic, and that's how deep you plant it. Just like so. Very, very easy. Okay, the couple other things you should know about planting garlic is that you don't want to plant small bulbs. So save the biggest ones for planting and just eat the smaller ones. The bigger the bulbs you plant, the bigger the crop you get at the end. So it's well worth doing that. The other thing to be mindful of is the soil that you're planting your garlic into. If it's heavy clay, there's a risk that it might hold on to too much water throughout the months it's growing in, which may lead to something called white root rot, which may lead you to having a really, really big cry because you'll lose your whole crop. So we make sure the soil you're planting into has really good drainage. We've raised our bed up just 200 mil to make sure that it can drain freely, and we've added in lots of lots of good quality compost to make sure that it's not going to get any white root rot. Okay, so that's the garlic. We've planted around 150 plants here in roughly 6 meters, I'd say, in 3 different rows. That can be, it can be a little bit tweaked either way, but that's what we've done today. Okay, next up, let's go plant some beetroots. Over here, we've got a nice little line here in some prepared soil. All our soil is pretty good quality. It's had some compost in it over the seasons. I don't need to add any more in there. The beetroot seed is quite big, which is nice. We always plant more than we need. That's a really important thing. And we do that so A, we get good germination, and that's it really, you just want good germination. And that's what we do. So you can see I'm putting in more than enough there, more than what I need. And I just simply backfill with a bit of soil, making sure everything's covered obviously, but you don't want to put it in too deep at all. And once I've planted that, I give it a good pat down. That's all you do. It's really, really easy. So you'll be eating beetroots. How long? Let's look at this sign. We've got a nice little sign over here. Beetroots will be eating within 12 to 18 weeks. Obviously, you can eat baby beetroots or quite mature ones, so you can choose. Next up we're going to do is plant some carrot seed. Now, if you're anything like me, it took me a while to get a good straight carrot. It was quite challenging for so many years, but I've got this now, it's okay. Just like the beetroot seed, we take out more than we actually need, yeah? We plant it thickly to make sure we get good germination. really importantly, this seed is fresh seed. So I'm not faffing around with any old seed which may or may not work. I only use fresh seed. And that way I've found that I get a hell of a lot more success. And you can see I'm planting that quite thickly, knowing that as I get older, or as they get older, I'll have to thin them out, and that's totally fine. All right, I'm going to put them in, and again, cover them all up. Carrots need really good soil contact, so I stamp it down really quite roughly, but it's what they need. Next step with carrots is I water them in immediately. And I'll do the beetroots while I'm here as well. With carrots, there's another step here. I'm going to come closer. I'm going to cover them all with timber boards to stop them from drying out quickly. Because that's often one of the things that make the carrots fail, that the soil around them is getting dry, so they don't germinate properly. Some people will use hessian sacks, woolen blankets or bed sheets. We found that timber boards work really well, so that's what we use. It's a bit counterintuitive, but it does the trick. Make sure over the next days and weeks to come, you still water them in on top of the board. The water will sink in around them, making sure that the moisture levels are just right. So my friends, that is how you do carrots and beetroots. It's not that hard. Of course, we've made sure our soil is nice and friable. I do want to show you something around these carrots though, about how they can develop over 1.5 weeks. So follow me this way. Over here is a little carrot patch I planted, and I've got the boards still on there. If I take them off, I can see they are more than ready. They actually look a little bit freaked out, don't they? But fear not. If you come back this way a little bit, you can see the same carrot crop I planted on the same day. I just took a board off this row a few days ago, literally 3 days ago. You can see the green and the standing up now. So that's what these ones are about to do as well. I could have taken that off a little bit earlier, but they're going to become good, no worries at all. Another added bonus to that is that no weeds have germinated around them, which is really great because weeds and carrots do not go together very well. Okay, over here. Just so you know, this is what a 1 week old turnip crop looks like. You can see it's quite small still, and also that's been really thickly planted. Already I can come through this and start thinning it out. And just imagine, what do you want mature turnip to be? And you can actually take out over half of them. I know it looks ruthless, but you're actually doing the crop a favour. So you can do this now and as they get older and older. And just back here, we've got some seedlings of some broccoli. So we planted these maybe 2 weeks ago as seedlings. And that it's great if you can get hold of seedlings, pop them in now, and they'll make the most of the autumn warmth before winter really kicks in, which is good. Okay, so now we're going to come back to the very end of this garden bed. We're going to walk past some of these things. Come this way. Over here you can see some purple bush beans, which are just coming near the end of their life. Over this way we've got some teenager broccolis, which we planted in January, I think, and they're going to be ready in early winter to eat, which is so fantastic. You have to think months in advance if you want to eat in early winter, so that's what we planted in midsummer. Again, we've got some slightly younger broccolis over here, and some amazing Portuguese cabbage, which is incredibly prolific. Over here we've got some beetroots, more carrots just over there. You come down here, you'll see some baby leeks, which will eventually start thinning out and transplanting around the garden. Some lettuce, rainbow chard up here, and come deeper, follow me into past our asparagus patch. We're going to do some pea planting over here. So you can see we've got a big trellis. There's a bit of old Rio mesh that we've bent in half. You can use anything you have around. It could be an old gate, some timber pickets, a bit of string and branch contraction, whatever you can do, just do it. You need to have a trellis before you plant the peas, so do that first. I'll say that again. You need to have a trellis first before you plant. It will be your best friend. No regrets there at all. You'll never have a regret. So peas over here, you'll be eating them within 12 to 16 weeks. And you can see I've started to lay them out here roughly, 10 centimeters apart. Very rough. I plant more than I need, knowing that I will actually have to weed some out later on. I just want to make sure I get good germination. You just plant them a few, just like a little, what is that? Like one knuckle deep. That much, that's deep. There you go. Pop them in. And importantly, with peas, you don't want to water them in immediately. The soil has a really nice moisture already, and so I don't need to irrigate them. They can actually cause a few issues if you put too much water in there. Okay, so that's it with peas. I plant at the base of these trellises. Whatever you've got, you just plant at the base, and as they grow, you will train them up through this great system and pick from them for weeks and months to come. It's good. Okay, come over here. Lastly, we're going to talk about broad beans. I've got some dwarf broad bean seeds here, and you can plant these now but all the way into winter. So these are a great crop to do, like to stage actually. We'll plant some now and I'll plant some more over the next month or two because they're so delicious, good for us and good for the soil. Again, we can plant into soil that's already got a good moisture content, and I'm being pretty casual, but I'm just making sure they're spaced evenly apart. But again, I'm planting quite generously because I want to make sure that I get a good crop. So I plant them twice the depth of the seed, pop them in, and just like the peas, I'm not going to water them in today. I'll wait for them to pop their heads up, then I'll start to irrigate them as needed, which is great. All right, we're done. I've showed you broad beans, peas, carrots, beetroots and garlic. There's some of the things that you can plant right now at the end of March in temperate or cool temperate climate to make sure that you can eat in winter, in spring and in summer. Because it looks like this global pandemic that we're in, it's big and scary. It's going to be around for a few months, if not longer. So why not make sure you get carrots in the ground so eventually you can get them out of the ground and have a good time eating them, so that you, your friends, your family, hopefully your community are happy, healthy and resilient. Cheers!